3.
Great. Welcome to yet another episode of Schoolboy Bonanza, where we talk schoolboy rugby, and once again, schoolboy rugby. Once again, we had an incredible weekend of schoolboy rugby, including probably the greatest school derby in the world, definitely in South Africa. Over 25,000 people attended the derby. Of course, we also had a very unfortunate incident, that we're also going to talk about it a bit later. The fighting incident between Menon and Inge Janssen that went viral. So we will also look at that later. But before I start with anything, let me first introduce to you the founder of Schoolboy Rugby Bonanza, Mr. Louis van Kopenhagen. How are you today?
Good on you, Steve. It's good to be back. It's good to be here. It was a great weekend of schoolboy rugby. Um, as you've mentioned, probably the greatest rugby derby in schoolboy rugby. Um, and unfortunately, the incident that happened. But nonetheless, it was a good weekend of rugby, and we will dive right into all the results.
Yeah, there's been a couple of interesting derbies, including the Grey Derby, the famous Grey Derby between the two Grey schools. And I'm
Yes,
talking about Grey College and Grey School from Eastern Cape. That also took place. So
yeah.
let's have a look and see exactly what games took place and what happened. I'm actually very excited.
Right. So in no particular order. So these are the Noordval Cup results. So Hoërskool Middelburg versus Garsfontein, 45-7. I watched this game. Um,
I also did, yeah.
and we did a match thread for this game.
Yes.
And in the beginning, it looked like Middelburg was going to put up a fight.
Yeah.
But once Garsfontein scored their first try, the wheels just came off. But nonetheless,
Yeah,
mhm,
to be honest, Middleburg, the first 5 minutes, they were really dominating position, and
mm,
I even said on the match thread that they are clearly here to play and they're not intimidated by Garsfontein.
yeah,
But as you said, the moment Garsfontein scored, it was as
yeah,
if Garsfontein went into a higher gear. The way they won ball back, the way they managed to get turnover again,
mm,
put the ball into phases, they absolutely started to dictate play. And then you can't play. It's almost a difference between your a class team and a real good team. Garsfontein, number 2 in South Africa against the school that's 43rd. Two top teams, but one is class and the other one is still coming up the ranks. And you
yeah.
could see it. But still, all credit to Middelburg. They didn't give up. They gave a fight, and it wasn't a one-sided game as the score suggested. Middelburg had
Yeah,
their opportunities also.
yeah, correct. And the next one, Monument 38, Rustenburg 31. Now that's an interesting result.
Yes.
And look at the next one. Helpmekaar beating Waterkloof. Now that
I am
is
so happy. Yeah, that's excellent. I am so happy for Helpmekaar, Louis. Helpmekaar's had a bit of an up and down season,
yeah,
especially in the World Cup, losing the first 2 to 3 games and then winning one and then losing again. They needed this win, and it was a real significant win against a team that's just outside the top 10.
yeah,
So I am really so glad for
yeah.
Helpmekaar. It was a much needed victory for this
And
season. And maybe, I don't
also
know, I'm not quite sure where they are in the log, but maybe, just maybe, they still got a chance to make the playoffs.
maybe, yes, if they keep on winning the next couple of games, they might have an outside chance to make the playoffs. And
I think
Waterkloof,
there's still 1 or 2 games left. Am I not right? Sorry, Louis. I think there's still 1 or 2 games left before the semifinals.
yeah, yeah. So, and also Waterkloof has had a very good season, and for them to lose now, maybe that is a good thing in a way, because maybe this will give them more motivation to know that if they do not pull up their socks, they will not be able to make the playoffs.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now it's crunching time. I think the finals is very soon. Yeah,
It's,
when I checked the last time, I know Gasfontein was first. They
mm,
definitely in first. I know Middelburg was sixth, and then I think Monument was in second position. So I think it's almost sure that the semifinals tends to look like it's going to be Gasfontein, Monument, Waterkloof, and then we will see who's going to be in fourth. But I think
yeah,
those three are almost pretty sure and secured of their places in the
yeah.
semifinals.
And then we come to Menlo Park, 36, Yehia Jansen, 5. And this is where that ugly incident happened during this game. Um, and unfortunately, it gives a very bad picture for schoolboy rugby.
It's a sad day for schoolboy rugby. That's how I describe it. And I think by now the majority of our viewers has seen the clips. I don't even want us to show the clips. We could have shown the clips here on the show, but we decided not to. It's a disgrace. Really, it's an absolute disgrace. We went to the Menlo Park Festival. You went to the Menlo Park Festival.
Yeah,
It's a beautiful school.
yeah,
It was a real unfortunate event, and regardless of who the guilty party is, we those who saw the clips, it's completely unacceptable. And I think the sad part for me was to see some of the rugby players also getting involved in the fight.
yeah,
That for me, and it was I'm not sure if it was parents or disgruntled or people that has drank too much. This is something that shouldn't have happened in
yeah.
scuba rugby. And I think also the fact that it went viral and that the entire world saw, I sincerely hope there's going to be strong repercussions and strong consequences and strong disciplinary measures against against the guilty
Yes,
parties.
I would agree on that one. Then if we move along, Nelspruit 30,
Yes.
Kempton Park 29. Now, this is also a very interesting result because Kempton Park has had a very good season. I think this is the first
Yeah.
game they have lost this season. So, and by 1 point. So, very, very interesting result.
Yeah, that's second division, I think.
Yeah,
Look at the next result, Louis. Swartkop. I maintain Swartkop is the favorite
yeah,
to qualify for the first division.
yeah.
They've been absolutely dominating in the second division. I don't think they've lost a game in the second
No,
division yet.
so far, no.
And I think, yeah, they're the overwhelming favorites to win the second division. And if you look at Hartie is Middelburg, that's no slouch of a team. That's a very, very strong school that's always at the festivals. And Swartkop pulling off a victory of 50-14 against Middelburg. That is incredible.
Yeah.
Swartkop for me is a team. And I would love to see them next year in the Premier Division. I think it's
Yes.
a super great story.
Then Transvalia 21, Westphalia 24, Klerksdorp 31, Montana 36, then Elderain 19, Petersburg 57. That's also an interesting result.
Yeah,
Um,
Alderain's season of woes and misfortune is continuing. Alderain is not having the greatest of seasons, Louis.
no,
They've
no,
slumped out of the top 100. They were as high up last year as 91st, 90th, and they're now right outside the top 100. I think they're not even in the top 110. So
right.
Alderain, sorry, not Helpmekaar. Alderain is having a bit of a tough season this year.
Yeah. Then Lichtenberg 27, Secunda 18, Marais-Viljoen 27, Ben Foster 14, Ligbron 26, Piet Retief 71. Very
Oh,
interesting result. Yeah.
that is a fast scoring game. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would love to have been a spectator there. It's just you wouldn't have been able to blink, and then you would have already missed some action.
Yeah.
More than a point a minute.
Yeah. Then uh, Durban High School 26, Northwood 19, um, Pretoria Boys 13, Maritzburg College 33. And Maritzburg College bounced back after their defeat the previous week against Affis. So, and now look at this derby. Now, this was an interesting one. Cares 31,
Hmm.
Jeppe 46. Now, both of these teams actually have had a very good season. Um, and that both of these teams have had a lot of players drawn up into the Golden Lions Craven Week sides. So,
Yeah, true.
um, but Jeppe also had a tough time just before the holidays, and it's good to see they've bounced back. Um, and then the next one, Uffy's
Yeah,
66.
that's a good victory. That's a good victory for them, Louis,
Hmm,
JP against
yeah.
Case.
And
It's a
then,
strong derby, and I need to give a shout out to one of the ex rugby players from Case, Dan Rousseau. My
yes,
commiserations, because I know he was very sad about this loss. But nonetheless, two top schools in Gauteng rugby.
yeah,
So there has to be a winner and there has to be a loser.
yeah. And it's always a good derby, the two schools, Kes and JP. So, um,
Absolutely.
and then the next one, Affie 66, Noordjewel 26. I watched this game. Now, um, within the first 5 minutes, Affie's was already 14-0 up. They really came to play, and nothing worked for Noordjewel. Um, Scrums, lineouts, their mauls, handling the ball didn't go to hand. And every mistake, Affie's capitalized on every mistake. So, a very good game and a very good, convincing win for Affie's.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a good. It's definitely going to help their rankings. They're currently in fifth place. I think it's now pretty certain because we are almost getting to the final match. But I think it's now pretty certain that Paul Gim is going to finish as the number one school after
yeah,
that the victory
I
against Paul
I wouldn't
Boys.
be
They've already
surprised.
played all the top schools. You know that could have threatened them. So I think that is a very certain kind of thing that Paul Gim is going to be the number one school. The battle now is going to be for the next places, who's going to finish in the top 10, who's going to finish in the top 20,
Mm,
who's going to create in. And all those things are incredibly important because you've got a world festival, like a world schools festival coming up in December. Next year's your huge festivals, the Balaclava and Northern State. And you need to be up there at least in the top 50 if you want to get to the main things, and at least inside the top 100 if you want to get invited to the Easter festivals. So rankings are incredibly important in school rugby. Incredibly important.
and then Parktown 36, Glenwood 43. Now, Parktown boys also, their season has been very up and down. But
Yeah,
the last couple of games, they have lost, I think, two or three in a row now. So, actually, they almost lost against Northcliffe High 2 weeks ago, almost.
sure.
Um, so they've had a very tough season, but I'm sure they will bounce back next year. Um, then, now we come to some other
This
interesting
is Eastern
results.
Cape now.
So Queens 55, Selborne 15. Graham College is still on the winning ways, Steve. 33, Dave
Absolutely.
Lee.
I just wanted to say, yeah, they're still on the winning ways.
Yeah. And it's great to see that they are doing well this year. I'm very happy for them. Um, then Marlow 26, Pearson 33, DF Malherbe 12, Brandwag 81, Nico Milan 47, Daniel Pino 26, Framesby 22, Oakdale 46. Now here is
Yeah,
another
good victory for
interesting,
Oakdale.
yeah, now here is another interesting result. Hudson Park 38, Sterling 17. So because both of these teams have had an up and down season, so um, it's maybe a fair result in my opinion. So it maybe will
Yeah.
give them some hope towards as the season is busy closing down.
Absolutely. If I can just go back to the Oakdale Frenchby game, Louis.
Mm,
Oakdale are still in the top 10. I think they're 10th, so that was a crucial victory for them. And I won't say it's been as great season as last year, because last year
no,
they had some incredible result, finishing in sixth. But still, nonetheless, it's been a pretty good season for Oakdale.
yeah.
And that's a very convincing victory against Framesby. Of course, Graham College are second in the Eastern Cape. They'll finish in second place. I think Grey School has pretty much secured the number one spot, but you never know what's going to happen in the next few games. Of course, I don't know if we've got the result of the Grey College
Yeah, it's
games.
it's here. This is
Oh, brilliant.
and
Here
yeah,
we go.
and
Here we go.
this is also a game I watched, Grey College versus Grey High. Yes, the scoreline will tell you that Grey College absolutely dominated. To be very fair,
Mm-mm.
um, actually, Grey High put up a very good fight, but purely because of the depth of Grey College, um, they
I agree.
dismantled Grey High from the start of the second half. The first half was still quite competitive, but as soon as the second half
Yeah.
started, they came out with a bang and just dismantled Grey High. So, but it was a very good game, a very entertaining game. So, I think this was one of the highlights of the weekend. And um,
I think the thing is that people just need to realize, Louis, is that you once again you see the difference between a top 10 school and a school that's just outside or inside the top 20. It's
yeah.
just, as if Great College gets into a bit of, they've got that kind of higher gear available for them, so that whenever is needed, they just go into that higher gear, and then it's a kind of the floodgates that opens. So I don't think the score or the end result was ever in doubt. The main question was just how competitive is Grey High going to be against Great College. I think it's been ages. I'm not sure when. I've never seen Grey High beat Grey College in
No,
the previous year.
I've never seen that as well. And
So it's
also,
not a case of, they're going to rock up, beating Great College. It's a case of, how competitive they can be so they can build on it for the next seasons.
oh yes.
And so on. Nonetheless, Grey High, in the number one, take nothing away from them. They're number one
No,
school in Eastern
no, no,
Cape.
no, no.
They're a competitive school.
Um,
They're a proud school, and they didn't give up. They never gave
yeah,
up, and that's what the score says. At the end of the
and
day, they still scored
yeah,
4 to 5 tries.
and also from my opinion, people can differ from me. I don't worry too much. But Mgadezi, the fullback of Grey College, was my man of the match. He was phenomenal under the high ball. Every time he touched the ball, there was danger. He scored a very beautiful try after the forwards got uh, momentum forward close to the try line, and the scrum half literally just a pop-up pass to him ran through with speed under the post. So well done, and my man of the match for this game. And now we come to probably the highlight of the whole weekend. Steve, and thank goodness, no rain like last year. 25 plus thousand people were at this game. It was
Yeah, it's
phenomenal.
incredible.
You should have seen the opening. They had the bands playing, they did all kinds of things, and everyone, everyone just joined in. And you know, um, the first 5, 10 minutes, Paul Boys High had a stranglehold on the game. And from my side, as well as the commentators, everyone thought they would probably, if they can carry on like this for the full 70 minutes, beat Paarl. But again, once Paarl scored their first try, the whole momentum shifted. Um,
Yeah,
and the fly half of Paarl, Louis Kuhn, who also played for Western Province as well
Western Province.
as who's drawn up into the SA school side, for the first time, probably this whole season, he didn't have a very good day at the office from the kicking tee. I think if I
Yeah.
recall correctly, he missed 3 or 4 shots at goal, which is unheard of from him because he's actually almost had a flawless season this year. Um, and the backline of Paul Gim, they were lethal. Every time they got the ball, quick shift through down the line, and they were really dangerous. But Paul boys, the same. Their backline was lethal, and their right wing had an absolute phenomenal game. He scored, I think, 1 try, almost a second try right at the end, but they bundled him out into touch. Um, so yeah, all in all, I think this was a very good game. And I think Balham took revenge for last year, and
Mm.
they really made a statement.
Yeah, Paul this year had a much different season than last year. Paul Boys was second last year, but the rankings this year was completely different. This time, Paul was ranked number 1, and Paul Boys coming into this match was ranked 7th. So Paul was the favorite, and was a if they win this match, they basically were secured of the number 1 position
Yeah,
for this year, according to the
yeah,
latest rankings.
yeah,
They now unassailably, undoubtedly going to be the number 1 team. So all credit, Belgium was the best team in South Africa this year, all season round, consistently wise.
yeah,
Paul Boys at times were incredible, but at times they were also not so incredible. They had a bit of an up and down, losing more games than normal. And for the first time in a long time, Paul Boys actually slumped out of the top 5. They
yeah,
even went down as low now. I think they're now at sixth or seventh.
yeah,
So Paul undoubtedly, no doubt that they are the number 1 teams this year in South Africa. So all credit to them.
yeah.
Paul Roos, looking at the next game, Louis. Paul Roos, the number 2 team in South Africa. Convincing victory against Boland Lambone,
This was also a
45-13.
good game. I was also privy to watch this game. Paul Roos came out with a statement.
Yeah.
From the get-go, they really put down the stamp and the authority in this game. Um, at at times, Boland looked like they are going to penetrate the defense of Paul Roos. But it was one of those days that absolutely nothing went their way. Nothing. But a good game, an entertaining game, and it also shows why Paul Roos is such a strong force in South African rugby.
Oh yeah, they're always in the top three in South African school rugby. You know, the 2 Paul teams, Paul Gim, Paul Boys, and Paul Roos from Stellenbosch are always up and about in the top. You know, that's
Mm,
why if you look at Western Province, that's why Western Province school rugby is so incredibly strong.
yeah,
It's because of this incredible Paul teams and Paul Roos. For time wise, I'm just going to quickly go through the other results because we still need to
right.
look at the rankings also before our time runs out. Sax and Rondebosch, that's also 2 strong teams, I can tell you, in Western Cape rugby nog all the years. What a derby they had, 50-36 to Rondebosch.
Mm,
2 proud teams, 2 proud cultures, history. Incredible game, and I wouldn't have minded to have been a fly flying around that stadium. I think that was an incredible game. That's the only way I could hit there. Stellenberg, number 3 in South Africa. At one stage, the number 1. What an incredible season they've had, Louis.
Yeah.
Topping it off with an incredible victory against Durbanville, which is also another weak team. They ranked in the top 25 of Schoolboy Rugby, but Stellenbosch just too strong for them, 42-12. Look at the next result. Now, Bishops and Wynberg are 2 strong teams in Western Cape, but look at what Wynberg running away with that match. 64-12 against Bishops. Strong statement by Wynberg. And I could remember, even in the 90s, I played for Paul Greyland's primary school under 13, the first team. But Wynberg was so strong that we could only play the one game against the C team, which we won. And then in the second game against the B team, which we won 42-5. We never got to play against the A team because they were in a much higher league than us. So Wynberg schools in general, primary schools, high schools, always been very strong in Western Cape. And then Josh team 22, Milnerton 20.
And then Grootveld 12, Vigartspark 40, Wittenberg 0, Diamantveld 73.
So
then Central 38, Voortrekker 17. So these are all the results we were able to get. And now, Steve, this is your baby.
Awesome. Looking at the results, also, I can just quickly give my congratulations to Bellville. They also played and won a game. I can't remember the school now, but they won 2017. And of course, I'm going to the derby between Bellville and Milan. But I will shortly talk about it. I'm on my way to Louis. I can't wait. 2 days' time, I'm going to Cape Town for this incredible derby that's going to take place on the 15th. So, but we will talk about it now. Soon, we'll just quickly give you some details about it, just to lighten and refresh your memories. But let's have a look at the rankings. As I said, Paul Gym is the number 1 ranked team in South Africa. They've now basically secured it, and it's pretty now. I think it's a pretty definite case, definite situation that they're going to finish as the number 1, as the schoolboy season is slowly but surely getting to the end. Almost time for record exams for the matrics. So we are really now getting to the end.
Yes.
So I think it's a pretty sure thing that Paul Gym is the number 1 ski team in South Africa for this year. Garsfontein is second. Now that for me is very interesting. They've had an outstanding season. They are absolutely dominating the Noordwal Cup. I think the only team, I still say Monument could upset them. I'm still going to place my money on Monument. So I'm going to be loyal to my Gauteng Line School and say Monument can just maybe upset Garsfontein. So don't be too sure if you're a Garsfontein fan. Monument's got the secret weapon, and that is, of course, Viljoen. The fly-off. That is an absolute future match winner. So my money's still on Monument.
Right.
So we'll see. But anyways, let's go on. Paul Roos is third. Last year's defending champions. They are now currently third. Also outstanding season. It's just that Paul Gym was just too good for them this year. Stellenberg, what an incredible season they've had, nonetheless. Fourth. Last year, they weren't even in the top 10. And look at them this year. At one stage, even first. Absolute incredible. They had a great season, and all credit to the coaching staff. Affie's had a bit of a tough season this year, Louis. Losing unexpectedly a couple of games that we're not used to them losing. Finishing in 5th, ranked 5th. And normally I think last year they were 4th or 3rd, but they're normally always up and about in the top 3. So I don't think they'll be too satisfied with that. Paul Boys, the same. Last year they were 2nd. This year, 6th. I don't think that's something that they'll be quite happy with. I know that the coach, Sean Erasmus, has got very high standards. But nonetheless, they played some great rugby also all around. There's that famous victory in the Villa Club in the dying seconds of the game that you can't, I think it was against Affie's or Graham. That was absolutely outstanding. Talking about great college, they're 7th. Now we've had a chat with the coach as well as the captain. And that's not a position that they are satisfied with. The expectations in grade college is always high. They
Mm.
rate it as probably one of the greatest schoolboy teams in the world, in the history of schoolboy rugby. Got an over 90% winning rate. So they won't be too happy with seventh. But nonetheless, they're still in top 10. Shows you the depth. Monument, it's my team. They are in eighth. I know it's also Elaine Hogan from Ireland's team. Besides Randburg, my old school, I'm backing Monument. Outstanding for them to be in the top 10. They are eighth. Outeniqua also had a good season and ninth. And then, of course, Oakdale, the Giant Slayers of last year, still inside the top 10. And then you get to your processions of Natal schools in the mix. Maritzburg College at 11th. Waterkloof from Pretoria in 12th. Hilton College from Durban at 13th. Durban High School at 14th. Northwood 15th. Westville. All the jam-packed traffic, all the Natal schools on each other's case hooting for one another. It's actually quite interesting. Michael House at 17th, Ronnebosch we spoke about, and Wynberg we spoke about, two strong schools in the Western Cape, still in the side, the top 20, top 20. Shows you the incredible depth. All these schools are class schools. RTS Drosti, 20. JP, that had a great victory against Cares in 21st. Kirsten College from Durban, also one of the historic schools in Durban at 22nd, also very good for them. Help Makar has climbed a little bit up. They were 24th, they're now in 23rd, but not the greatest position for them. Last year they were 17th. They had a bit of an up and down season. Graham College, Eastern Cape's number 2 team, but look at them. According to this one, they now rank just above Grey Eye, and I think it's got to do. That I didn't know. That for me is now the first time I see it. But I think it's got to do with the fact that Grey Eye lost against Grey College,
yes.
and Graham College won their match this weekend. So look at that. I have to swallow my words. I said I don't think anybody's going to stop Grey Eye this year, but Graham College is now the number 1 school in Eastern Cape according to this. They 24th, Grey Eye is 25th. It will be interesting to see the rankings of the Eastern Cape because the rankings are so different. Swartkop have jumped up 2 positions. They were 28th. They're now in 26th position. And I'm still saying they're the number 1 favorites to win the second division and to go to the Premier Division next year. It was so great for them to be there in the World Cup. And look out for Swartkop. I think they're going to be in the top 20 next year. Definitely. Durbanville is also a very competitive school. We actually caught up with the coach at the Noordside tournament. I had a chat with him. 27th, a real knowledgeable man that's very passionate about his team, and it's awesome to see the coaching that goes on. I really like that coach. He was such a nice gentleman. Really, it was really an honor to speak to him briefly at the Noordside. Noordheuwel 28th, and then of course Menlo Park 29th, Sachs 50th, Diamantveld 31st, and then Case. Of course, they lost out this weekend, but they still just outside the top 30, knocking. Hopefully, they can maybe in the last match or 2 jump up into the top 30 to finish the season on a high. Boland Landbou, one of the top schools in Boland, is 33rd. Dale College 34th. And then we've got Kingswood at 35th, Queen's College 36th, Rustenburg 37th. All of these schools, these incredible schools, got incredible tradition and legacy behind their names. Paarl Valley, one of the schools in the Cape, also 38th. And then Bishops, also from the Cape, in 39th. And then Pretoria Boys High, still hanging on to the top 40. And of course, we are still waiting for the derby between Affies and Pretoria Boys High.
Yeah.
And then quickly, just some honorable mentions. Nelspruit, as we all know, a strong school in the Mpumalanga in 41st. Middleburg, we all know they lost out against Monument in the World Cup this Saturday, 45-7. Nico Milan has also had an okay season, up and down, 43rd. Pearson is also there, and then Hudson Park. So these are schools that's just outside the top 40, that's inside the top 50 that needs to be mentioned also. And that's the rankings. There's not going to be too many more rankings until the end of the year. We are almost at the end. Yeah. But of course, I am looking forward to my journey and my next trip because I'm on my way to Cape Town. I'm going to be covering the derby between Bellville and DF Milan. And I cannot tell you how excited I am. Bellville is a school that is ranked up and up. I think the last ranking I saw, according to the one source, is that they are 91st in South Africa. So they're a strong, proud team. And we spoke to I think you will remember, Louis, we had an interview with the coach, and he told us that he's even got the help of two stormers that helps with the analyzing and helps with the coaching, which is incredible. So Bellville is taking their rugby really seriously, and they've got I love the way the coach thinks. It's got a real professional outlook and analytical outlook on the way. He even gives them reports, about stats, the team to look at, so that they can see where they go wrong, what they need to improve of. So it's a very kind of a scientific, professional outlook that he's got in coaching the team. Yes. And then, of course, DF Milan. That coach also incredibly impressive. He's not a teacher at the school, but he's got an academy there, and he's now coaching. He's also one of our members. He's coaching the DF Milan team. And what he's bringing into that team, it makes me really exciting. And that's why I think, even though Bellville is ranked 90th, and DF Milan, I think, is ranked just outside the top 150th inside, but I think they're between 150 and 150 to run about there. They are ranked inside the top 200. I think that DF Milan's got what it takes to really pull off a surprise against Bellville.
All right.
So I'm incredibly excited. I'm really excited to go and attend that match, and I think we can have a cracker. Hopefully, I'm going to catch the two coaches. I would love to catch up with the two coaches before the time, have an interview with them, and maybe with some of the players. But I can guarantee you, I'm going to give, with my Cape Townian cameraman, I'm going to give you the best broadcasts or the best updates possible of the day. Whether it's through interviews, match updates, talking with the pupils, maybe some of the parents, we're going to do our best to give you the best kind of updates possible on the day of the derby and even before the time. So please check the space. And of course, that brings us to the end of our program. Before we round off, we cannot finish the show without thanking everyone that's involved. Our community, Louis, is growing. We now have passed the 2,500 mark. We're now at 2,600 members.
Sure.
Very well on our way to getting to 2,700 to 3,000. Absolute amazing, the support of the community. When we started the show, never in our wildest dream. I remember I said to you, Louis, if we can only get to 100 members before the end of last year, it will be great. And we managed to get just underneath the 200. And I said, okay, now our goal is 1,000, just 1,000 for this year. And it's not even the end of the year, and we're already standing at 2,600 members. Thank you so much for becoming part of the Global Maniacs, the Global School Maniacs. We're a passionate community. We love school rugby, and our goal is to promote global school rugby, not just in South Africa, not just the big schools, small schools. Any school that's passionate about rugby, we want to promote. So if you've got a school, whether it is in the Eastern Cape, whether it is in the rural areas, please send us your photos. We've got a couple of nice photos from some of our schools. We would like to promote you guys because it's all about school rugby. We've got a passion for South Africa, as well as Africa, as well as global-wise. We are planning to broadcast and to promote global the Northern Hemisphere school rugby at the start of the season next season. That will be our next season show. So please, after the rugby season in South Africa is finished, check the space. We will be having a production space, a bit of a production break, and then we will jump right into it, promoting global rugby, school rugby in the Northern Hemisphere. So please check the space. Of course, I would like to also thank the people as the staff that's working behind the scenes. A huge thank you to Louis' beloved wife, Sarah. She's been working the entire weekend to make sure that the online magazine is up to date and up to speed. It came out. So if you would like to get the online magazine, the link is on our Facebook group. You just go to the future section. I've pinned it there, and you can go and you can look at the edition, which is, of course, the Crown Week. So a huge thank you to Louis' wife, Sarah, for the layout and making sure it got out in time. Also, we would like to thank Arno, our journalist, that's part of the interview panel, hugely involved in the magazine. He's running the magazine, by the way, with Louis. He's in charge of the online magazine. Thank you so much to Arno. And then, of course, we would like to thank Elaine from Ireland. That is our scout and promoter in the Northern Hemisphere. That's really working hard and doing our utmost best to send out emails to the schools to promote Schoolboy Rugby also and Schoolboy Rugby Bonanza podcast in Ireland. So a huge thank you to Elaine. And then we cannot finish the show without thanking our Future Game crew, the gentlemen that goes attend the Future Games with Louis, our cameraman Brian Dudley, as well as the fellow presenter Mr. Von. Thank you so much, guys, for your support. Of course, if you would like to join Global School Rugby Bonanza, please go to our Facebook group under Global School Rugby Bonanza and join our group. And then also our YouTube channel, Global School Rugby Bonanza. Please subscribe. And then, of course, our other platforms. We're on TikTok under Global Schoolboy Rugby Bonanza. And we've also on Instagram under Global Schoolboy Rugby Bonanza, as well as a WhatsApp channel. So please join our platform and become part of our Global School Rugby Bonanza maniacs. For me, that is the end for myself. The next time I'll be talking to you guys, I'll be at the beach in Cape Town. Thank you, Louis, once again. It was a great show.
Yes.
And from our side,
Goodbye.
goodbye.